Duh. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Yeah? That giant up there, on the bridge you talked to. Head measurer. Won't let the workers by. The access panel is right behind him. Bad. Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically advantageous position. And he's trained. I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But that one's no joke, and my men are tired and hungry. They're workers, not fighters. Like civilized folk, you mean? These native fucks don't understand civilized.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge. Honest men and women, with rights, to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If Union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were given a job to do! We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates. Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Why don't you go arrest them instead? I'm sure they've done plenty of criminal shit. They have that look.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge.
The unpromising race pupil returns. I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called Hardy Boys are an effeminate clique of bodybuilders. Their company is spiritually degrading. The hardy manlets are on the pay of the company. I answer to the Union alone. And I do this out of race heroism. Finance is an alien concept to the Semines. Now leave me be. I must luxuriate in the company of my woman. Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that.
There must be some friction there. He's keeping it well hidden, however.
Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront international capital, which is something your race naivistic communists never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. It is lax and moronic. Jam. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth culture, have you not? You have picked them up from rock and roll songs? Rock and roll is moribund. Only Koikos listen to it anymore. There is no life left in it. My people abandoned it long ago. It leads only to neurodegenerative herpes and heroin overdoses. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Semines race.
Measurehead stoically looks to the distance, in silence.
I think this racist is better than the last. But the next racist will be the really good one.
That is understandable. The previous racist was probably an Occidental, and did not prove a real adversary.
These cops are just jealous, Jean-Luc.
There is nothing funky about them. There are 3 categories of race. Type A, Type B, and the vile CF race. I cannot possibly imagine what else.
A rusting control panel with several knobs. The words Marsh and Arrête are very, very slightly, even more faded with use. No screech of metal when you push the button this time, only silence as the crane remains in its state of dormancy. The crane does not return to its original position. It does not move at all. You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's anything inside the container. You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. And, as it's always been, it's impossible to open a container with rhetoric. Maybe you're losing your mind.
Oh, hey, mister. I'm not gonna bother you with a long greeting, just like we talked about before. I know you're probably a busy man being an important police officer and all, and personally, I think the more people keeping the peace, the better. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up.
Told you.
Oh, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done. Oh, absolutely, mister. What do you want to know? Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Evrard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Evrard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Like what, mister? Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them. Sure, mister. About what?
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today? No, you didn't. I know the mailman, Harry. I know everyone and everything that happens in this town, and I know there's no letter in that mailbox yet. Just like I know you'll get it done. Once you stop horsing around, let me know when it's done.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But, he thinks, it's your call.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm going to hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing. They are just going to have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie. Yes, the little cul-de-sac on the coast, where all the men have drowned, in either the sea or the bottle. A gloomy place, doesn't have that union attitude.
You're already pretty deep into this. What's a little more? No one can see you here in Martinez.
By all means, Harry. What's on your mind? Yes, my best men are tracking it down. Some kids saw some other kids running away with it. Some folks said a paranoid schizophrenic might have it. Leads are being checked, Harry. What's that, Harry? You're getting a little pale. Is it the words paranoid schizophrenic and lost gun in one sentence? Don't worry, it's just a lead. It'll probably turn out to be nothing.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. The file cabinet stands steady as ever. Sliding out, a drawer presents you the folders you already went through. On top of them is the handwritten note. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants, sweep office floor. More banners. All items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself is crumpled. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara, and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Couron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. You already went through all of these. Remember, Leo, All items on the list have been crossed out. Hundreds of and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Couron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. You already went through all of these. The drawer slides shut.
Yes? What do you want to know? You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is... Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. I can assure nothing like that will happen. Do you know why not? No, something isn't happening, because it's not part of reality.
There's something the lieutenant isn't seeing. The universe is too irrational, too morally complex. You should convince him.
No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. Then you are in luck, because we are in the midst of a major strike by the dock workers union. Maybe more than that. The union clearly wants a piece, not just of the industrial harbor, but the Wild Pines Corporation itself.
Is this a strike then? Or the first shots in a workers' coup?
I expect the case itself to be less challenging than navigating these community matters. This district isn't used to the RCM's presence, and the Union rarely overplays its hand, as it appears to have done in this case. Strike, coup, revolution, it's brigandage, however you parse it.
You feel something rising through you, a familiar feeling, an opinion taking form.
Politics is habit-forming and hazardous. It is also irrelevant to police work. You're right to doubt the impulse. It might be detrimental to our task here.
From an imaginary fan.
Now, was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I'm relieved that you agree.
He is glad and surprised to see an officer who can appreciate the less than spectacular.
Do you know the feeling when you've begun filling in a crossword, but some of your answers don't quite seem to fit? That's the feeling I have right now, for some reason. Perhaps you're a more proficient cruciverbalist than I am. All I mean to say is that we have a puzzle on our hands, but not all the pieces. Yet. Good.
Only banal things strike you. At the core, you're a very banal person with a very small soul. One you should be ashamed of. It's no wonder the soft one doesn't want it back. It was right to abandon you.
What about me? That's correct.
That makes him a Beano-clad. Completely uncopped material, if you say so yourself.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome. What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant is a police officer of the old school. His concerns are material and extrinsic. But this isn't an old school case.
What? Think? I do most of my work inside my notebook.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook and idly thumbs through a few pages. That's where his conversations with himself take place. We all have our different mediums. His is written.
No.
Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse the order. Something is paralyzing them. You're pretty sure it has something to do with the lieutenant's eyebrow.
Something the matter, detective?
This guy's got authority off the charts. With just the flick of his eyebrow, he's able to make you his thrall. Nothing. You better hope he doesn't abuse his authority. There's a lot of it. The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrow, and you seem to regain control of yourself.
Good. Let's change the subject.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? That's so. I haven't heard anything about them. But if that's true, well, he was an enemy combatant. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search. We're negotiating our share. Aye. This stuff, they already covered. It's not enough. Not enough to get ahead. More about keeping us in our place.
The man whispers a jaunty tune. A coastal breeze ruffles his hair.